Hello and welcome to Diegetic Advancement. My name's Riley, and today, October 26th, Sunday, which means the prompt is favourite magic item. But because it's also kind of the last Sunday of October, I'll be taking a look at the last topic as well, which is magic system. I think it's spell or magic system. I'll do the check. I'm going to talk about a magic system today anyway. So, favourite magic item. I don't know if I have one. I quite like the Dwarven Thera. There's a good story in Felix and Gotrek where there's a Dwarven Thera, and that's kind of cool. So I've always kind of liked that image of that. The classic magic sword is always a kind of powerful image as well. But I'm going to kind of shout out Joe from the Decahedron podcast. He did an episode on magic items and talked about how he was giving out a long time ago kind of mundane magic items at the start of the game, and I did something similar in my Domwinwood game because that's how the character creation works. I didn't kind of come up with it myself, but each character gets a trinket, and some of them are quite cool and lets you do creative, inventive things. So I quite like those items as well. So go check out Joe where he kind of talks about how he did that. I think it's pretty cool. Whilst I'm on the topic of doing shout outs, go check out the Pink Phantom Thoughts podcast. He's doing some OSR October stuff, which is pretty cool. The latest episode was on sandboxes, so go check that out. Okay, favorite magic system. Most of my answers have been fairly vanilla, so you should probably expect me to say that Vancian is kind of cool. In a way, if you read Vance, D&D is kind of like not quite Vancian. It's Vancian-like, I guess. One, you can memorize multiple different spells, and it seems like really there are only kind of two levels of spell in Vancian. In Dying Earth, at least. Someone might be able to correct me in that, but I'm kind of remembering a quote where a character's memorizing some magic and he picks a number of lower and like one higher or something like that. So that's quite cool, but as far as magic systems go, because that's fairly fairly vanilla and boring, I really like DCC. Obviously, I think that's kind of captures some of that Appendix N vibe where the others don't. It's wildly unpredictable and powerful. You can make sacrifices to patrons and whatnot to kind of enhance the power, and there's the ever chance of corruption. I think it's probably dialed up to 11, a bit too much to use as is in like D&D. It is very DCC, which makes it really fun and good for if you're playing DCC. But yeah, I feel like it's probably you have to dial it back to kind of use that system or something inspired by that. Shadow Dark has a similar thing. I didn't play it long enough to really see how that kind of behaves, but that's worth checking out as well, I suppose. Last thing I'm going to let a call from Jason close out the show. Jason from the Nerds RPG Variety Cast. So you'll find a few links to podcasts in the show notes. Joe from Decahedron, Pink Phantom Thoughts, and Jason from the Nerds RPG Variety Cast. Jason talks a little bit about it's kind of responding to my request for historic myth and folklore inspired magic items. The products that he mentioned, I did a quick Google. I didn't confirm whether or not they did have that type of thing in them, but the first volume at least is available on Noble Knight for like $10 or less, so it is fairly affordable. I imagine shipping will make that not affordable for myself, but thank you very much for the recommendation, and of course for listening and calling in, Jason. On the note of call-ins, I do have two that I'm still sitting on, so one from Daniel Norton and one from Michael of Merc the Meek. So I'll get around to them probably post October, because it's kind of hard to fit those in and the daily prompts. Anyway, as we said, we're in the home stretch. Sometime this week, I think Saturday the 1st. So I guess Friday is the last show. Five more. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Bye for now, and here's Jason.
Hey Riley, Jason here. As far as magic items, these are going to probably be hard to find. They're not really OSR, but Mayfair back in the day had a line called Rolaids, and they put out two books, Fantastic Treasures and Fantastic Treasures 2. These would be 1980 books, 1980s. And they had treasures, if I remember right, from all over the world, in different mythologies from all over the world. I might be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure they did cover a pretty wide gambit. So those might be worth finding if you trying to find if you can find a good price on.